careers. Occasionally, these NASCAR elite, including some champions, return to their roots to battle the Busch Series best. And to our delight, today is one of those days.
This field is laced with a potentially lethal dose of Winston Cup stars. Names like Gordon, Burton, Nemechek, Waltrip, and one more, Mark Martin. 41 career victories in the Busch Series, including one in this race last year and one in this car last week. Today he starts second as a Vegas favorite.
For 4 consecutive years, NASCAR's talented tailgaters from the Craftsman Truck Series put on a scintillating show here in Vegas. Today, 2 of their former champions renew their duel in the desert, but this time in full-bodied stock cars.
Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday are the best of friends off the track, but on the track, they're the fierce championships puts added pressure on Hornaday. Sprague, on the other hand, will only run selected Busch races. His goal, impress onlooking car owners. While Hornaday must keep his eye on the points, Sprague is racing for a win only. 2 different agendas, 1 common goal.
Busch Series regulars Jeff Purvis and like talented teen Casey Atwood's tumble in Daytona last year, this season veterans like Jeff Green have found themselves on a different kind of role. Today, Green hopes his return to the scene of his first ever Busch win here at Vegas, coupled with last week's runner-up Rockingham finish, puts him back on the track to a series title.
After 2 races, Jeff Green is a frustrating 11th in points. Last week, he finished second, right behind Mark Martin. Today, he starts 4th, right behind Mark Martin. Not a bad guy to follow, unless you're crossing the finish line.
2 of the 3 Busch Grand National races run here at Las Vegas have been won from the pole. Hank Parker Jr.'s on the pole today. His best career finish was a 3rd on a short track. What a story it would be today if little Bo Cephas, Hank Jr., could win at Vegas. Jerry Punch?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and we're so glad you could join us for today's 4th annual Sam's Town 300 here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The purse today, over $1.1 million, makes this the 3rd richest stop on the NASCAR Busch Series 32 race tour. And you couldn't ask for a more stellar field. 3 former Busch Series champions, 2 NASCAR Craftsman Truck champions, and a 3-time Winston Cup champion, Jeff Gordon. And we haven't mentioned names like Martin, Burton, Nemechek, and Waltrip also in the field. Now, you got to wonder, is it the money or something else that has so many accomplished drivers entering today's race? Why don't we ask our accomplished analysts? Here's Benny Parsons and Kyle Petty.
Well, Jerry, I think there's a couple of reasons with so many good guys in this race today. Number one, it has to be money. It wasn't until just a few years ago that $1 million purse was unheard of in stock car racing. And secondly, a lot of these NASCAR Winston Cup drivers have a Busch deal. They're committed to run a few races each year. But I think a lot of these NASCAR Winston Cup drivers are tickled to death during this race today. Kyle, because they're going to use today's race and trying to find a setup for tomorrow's race, and that setup is proven to be very elusive.
This is an elusive racetrack. The Busch guys came in here Thursday. The racetrack changed from Thursday to Friday. We were on the track this morning. It changed from Friday to Saturday. It's going to change from Saturday to Sunday. These Winston Cup regulars are going to hope to find that elusive setup and transfer it to tomorrow and be able to be a little bit better. But let me tell you something. There's a lot of Busch regulars down there that think they know the elusive setup, and they're going to show these Winston Cup guys something.
Well, guys, the command has been given, and 43 cars and stars prepare to battle for 300 miles today. Without question, this must be the most stellar lineup of stock car stars we've seen in the Busch Series in quite a while. We're happy you could join us for our ESPN coverage as the worldwide leader continues the NASCAR 2000 tradition. Today live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it's the 4th annual Sam's Town 300 NASCAR Busch Series Grand National event. When we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineup and wave the green flag from Las Vegas. Take a look at this beautiful facility, immaculate facility, 1.5 miles around, essentially flat. Banking here only 12 degrees in the corners, 9 degrees in the front straightaway, and essentially nothing in the back straight, just 3 degrees. 1.5 mile D-shaped oval, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Our starting grid, 43 cars will start. There are 55 here to attempt to qualify. And his first ever pole position in the Busch Series, 25-year-old Hank Parker Jr. and Rick Rathbun's Team Marine Chevrolet. He'll lead him down alongside his idol, Mark Martin, a 41-time winner here in Busch Series competition.
A lot of these NASCAR Busch Series regulars, great qualifying runs here as they try to beat Mark Martin. And Kyle, he is the guy that they've got to beat today. Mark Martin in practice He has been, each practice session, he has been the fastest car.
Yeah, he's been the fastest guy in the Busch Series. He's been the fastest guy in the Winston Cup. He just seems to know how to get around these really fast, flat racetracks like Las Vegas is, that have a lot of corner. And the new Taurus, I think it's just enhanced his position on racetracks like that.
We mentioned a smattering of NASCAR's Winston Cup stars in today's field. There are 5 Winston Cup regulars. Let's take a look at our starting lineup, including, we mentioned some of the drivers from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. There are 3, just say 32 Chevrolets in today's field. You see most of these drivers are in the Chevrolet Monte Carlo 2000 version. Only 6 Pontiacs and 5 Fords. There's a 3-time Winston Cup champion, Jeff Gordon, starting back in row 14 in the same car he won with in Phoenix a year ago. 19-year-old Adam Petty back in row 16 in the Sprint Chevrolet.
Kyle, after a few laps and the tires get hot, do the problems of the car just slipping in the corner? Do they get worse and worse as the tires get hotter?
You know, as the tires get hotter, the racetracks, it's a funny racetrack. As the tires seem to get hotter, as the racetrack itself gets hotter, the racetrack doesn't really get that much slicker. It just gets slow for some reason, and that's what happens to it day after day after day. It just gets slower and slower. So you see a little bit of slipping and sliding, but not as much as you think you would. Not as much as we saw last week during the Busch race or the Winston Cup race at Rockingham.
We'll be riding along with 9 different drivers with our onboard cameras today. We'll be giving you angles from all over this field of 43 throughout the 200-lap, 300-mile event. There's Ron Hornaday, 2-time NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. The Daytona winner, Matt Kenseth, will be carrying a camera.
And Blaze Alexander with a channel lock onboard camera. One of Felix Sabates' car, Mike McLaughlin. He's driving a different number this year. It's number 48. And this is Bobby Hamilton Jr. has to go to a backup car because he crashed this car in practice.
Jeff Purvis needing his luck to turn around a little bit, maybe for Joe Gibbs' car. And there's the Cellular One car of Joe Nemechek, runner-up here a year ago to Mark Martin, who dominated this race last year. And, of course, our pole sitter, the Cobalt Tools Chevrolet. That's the Team Marine sponsorship on that car for Hank Parker Jr. Let's check into the pits once again with Bill.
Well, how strong is Mark Martin? Before the drivers' meeting, there was an informal poll among the competitors. They all voted that Mark should have to take the green flag on the Las Vegas Strip and then race his way to the track before racing his way around it. But in the drivers' meeting, when some of the members of the Flying Thunderbirds were introduced and the drivers were told how fast those guys could go, Jack Sprague stood up and commented, "That's nothing. Mark should be able to hang with them." That was funny then. It may not be now. Ray?
Bill, back here in the Busch Grand National Garage, there's a lot of parts and pieces that have been confiscated from teams. What they want to do is try to get the maximum amount of fuel in these cars. This race today could be a fuel mileage gamble. A lot of the outer casings right here were too thin. If they're real thin, they can get these bladders to expand and maybe get another half a gallon of fuel in there. The officials were very stringent this week back in the garage area.
Well, indeed, and that's a big concern here, Ray, because 200 laps, if you can make it on 2 pit stops, maybe make it to 75 laps or so on fuel.
Almost.
Make it on 2 stops there, so we'll see what happens. Over $1 million up for grabs, 200 laps, 300 miles. Glad to have you with us here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Sam's Town 300.
Todd Bodine in the Phillips 66 car.
Bodine will lead him off of turn 2. There's the car number 9. NorthernLight.com Ford of Jeff Burton. He makes a move, and the pole sitter, Hank Parker, sliding back.
Kevin Harvick in the AC Delco has moved into the second spot. Martin Martin is back to third. Now this is really strange. You see Harvick alongside Hank Parker Jr.
There's a Porter Cable Chevrolet for Jeff Purvis. He's following those cars, about a half a dozen cars back behind the leaders. Harvick now trying to make his move one position underneath Hank Parker Jr., who was our pole sitter. Todd Bodine showing the way. wasting no time at all to make that move entering turn 1 of the very first lap of the race.
We've only run a couple of laps, and there's already 2 or 3 grooves on the racetrack. You see the guys in the middle of the corner. Some of them will be a little bit higher, some of them will be right on the bottom, and some of them will actually be in the middle of the racetrack trying to make time. Hank Parker Jr. has been hung on the outside from the very beginning of the race. It seems like he got shuffled to the outside, so he needs to get back down to the bottom because that's where his car works best.
Making it working pretty well. Here is a couple of Roush guys making a move on the leader, Todd Bodine. Field flashing by 2 by 2. Here's Joe Nemechek trying to make a move inside of Kevin Grubb. That is for position.
That's for the 6th position. And looks like Nemechek will have it down the back stretch.
And Jeff Burton looking beneath Todd Bodine for the lead. There's Burton with Northern Light.com Ford Taurus, and he will lead. They come out to complete lap number 4. Notice Ford, Chevrolet, and Ford in order. Burton, Bodine, and Mark Martin, the top 3, who have pulled away by about a 2.5-second lead over the 4th place car of Kevin Harvick.
See the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, as he tries to get in front and chase down Jeff Gordon. That's P.J. Jones in the 74, the white car. Jason Keller in 57, and that was close.
Matt Kenseth started back in 29th position, the Visine Chevrolet. Our World Best Buy.com telemetry on board with Matt Kenseth showing you exactly the miles per hour and the RPMs, just touching that brake in the corner.
I think that with these NASCAR Busch Series cars, with a 390 carburetor, I don't think they back off the throttle very much, but they do use the brakes to try to slow down instead of backing off.
Yeah, from the first time that the Winston Cup cars, or the first time the cars came here, when the racetrack was really tacky, if you touched the brake at all, it just killed your lap times. Now you're having to use a little bit more brake and a little bit more brake. At the same time, the cars have gotten better aerodynamically, and the motors, even though they're 9-to-1s, they're a lot better. So these guys use a little bit more brake longer into a run to drag the car back to the bottom of the racetrack.
Change of position for 5th spot, Benny, as Joe Nemechek made a move.
Kevin Harvick is running 4th spot just a couple laps ago, has lost 2 spots back to 6th as Jeff Green and Joe Nemechek has gone by.
Nothing changing up front thus far. Jeff Burton, our leaders. You watch the car 34 of David Green. There's 27, 19-year-old Casey Atwood, and the 18, Jason Leffler. The man also a rookie coming out of the open wheel ranks of USAC.
I was told down in the garage here this morning that Casey Atwood in the 27 car might be the dark horse today. Casey started back in the 15th position, has worked his way up to 11th spot.
Casey had a little trouble qualifying. He was the first car out, and the timing device didn't work. So he was allowed to go back to the garage area, and he had to retune, they had to put another set of tires on, and he had to go later in the lineup, which might have hurt him a little bit, but he's been pretty good most of the week.
And moving up pretty quickly now. Started back in the 15th position inside of row 8.
Our Daytona pole position winner, Hut Strickland, that red car, number 61, behind this group in 12th position. Casey couldn't make the move on the outside. He's going to try it on the inside. He's going to try it on the outside. Jeff Burton still continues to lead in the 9 car. It's the blue car. Todd Bodine is 2nd. And Mark Martin is 3rd. And Hank Parker Jr., a pole sitter, evidently the setup isn't exactly right on that Team Marines car. He's back to 35th.
We'll check with Dave McCarty, the crew chief there, and see what the problem was with our pole sitters. We are still early on here in the Sam's Town 300 after 9 laps are complete. Back with live coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series Sam's Town 300 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Jeff Burton continuing to lead the way, followed by Todd Bodine. There's Todd Bodine, Phillips Trop Arctic Chevrolet, and then the Winn-Dixie Ford of Burton's teammate Mark Martin. Where's our pole sitter? Well, Hank Parker Jr. began to drop back on the very first lap, and now he is way back in 40th position. They must have a problem. Let's check in their pits.
And they do, Jerry. We saw it at the green flag. Very slow start for Hank Parker Jr. He is radioed in that the motor just won't go. He says all the gauges are fine. The car handles good. He just doesn't have all the power he expected. He is backslid almost through the entire field from first to 40th and continues to have a problem with the engine compartment. They want to leave him out on the racetrack as long as possible, but he is certainly struggling at this point.
And that has to be so frustrating for not only Hank Parker Jr., but the entire team, because after you win the pole position, it comes with so much, and a battle for second spot as Mark Martin gets on the inside of Todd Bodine. But you win that pole, and you expect so much out of the race, and the first lap, you have a problem.
Martin makes it look easy, as you heard everyone say at the top of the show. Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, and they also mentioned the 98 car that Elton Sawyer in practice. Those three Fords were the class of the field in practice, and the Chevys of Jeff Green and Joe Nemechek were pretty close, but they couldn't compare. And certainly I think Mark Martin and Jeff Burton have them covered right now, Kyle.
Yeah, they definitely do. They did all during practice. If you just did nothing but corner speeds, you watched the 9 car, you watched the 60 car through the corners, they were consistently a 1/10 of a second faster through each corner. And it doesn't really show up a lot on new tires. On new tires, everybody's pretty equal, but once the tires get a little bit older, there's nobody better than Mark Martin or Jeff Burton when it comes to really tire management.
And Ron Hornaday, he's driving in this NASCAR Busch Series car about like he drove that NASCAR Craftsman truck. 3 wide down on the apron of the racetrack in the Pro to try to take over the 23rd spot.
And he's actually gained over 10 positions, and almost every one of his passes, Benny, have been down on the apron of the racetrack. He goes down to that line and just gets almost underneath it like he did in the truck out here for so many years.
Exactly. Once again, we watch telemetry on the WorldBestBuy.com as he accelerates down the corner up to 162.35. Wow, look how fast he picks up miles per hour. Up to 175, 176. Now a little bit of brake, and he'll slow down in the corner to 143 was the slowest speed I saw.
Last week at Rockingham, Hornaday qualified 26th and came through the field like a bullet. Ended up finishing 3rd behind Martin and Jeff Green on his way to the front here today, again in Las Vegas.
You can see on the telemetry, he just drags the brake a little bit. He gets on it just a little bit, and there's Todd Bodine going back around Mark Martin, but he just drags the brake just a little bit to get the car set and then jumps right back in the gas.
Evidently, Mark Martin is having some type of problem, because when he passed 66, everyone here, and I think on pit road, expected him to drive up to Jeff Burton and challenge for the lead, but he's now fallen back.
There's Jack Sprague in the Albertson Chevrolet, the Andy Petrione car, the 2-time and defending Craftsman Truck Series champion, following his buddy Ron Hornaday. How many years, 4 in a row that they battled out here? We called it the duel in the desert in the exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 4 truck championships for those 2 drivers a moment ago. Hornaday and Sprague we talked about. Here is Chad Chaffin in the car number 77 and Wayne Grubb in the 83. They are battling side by side for 24th position. And if you're asking about where our 3-time Winston Cup champion is, well, there's Hornaday, the truck champion. In front of him is Michael Waltrip, the Band-Aid machine, Band-Aid Chevrolet. How about Jeff Gordon? There he is. That's the Pepsi car. Car number 24, the Pepsi Chevrolet, not a DuPont Chevrolet in Busch Series action. It is sponsored by Pepsi-Cola. After starting back in 27th position, he has worked his way up to 20th. We gained 7 spots here in the first 20 laps.
Talked to Patrick, the crew chief on that car this morning, and they said they are really struggling trying to find the setup. They changed 4 springs, sway bars, shocks. They changed everything on the car before the start of today's race, trying to find something that will allow this car to get through the corners better.
And Collie said in qualifying, the car would go through the corners. If you come off the corners, the car wouldn't go down the straightaways. Like it just stopped.
Like it just stops. And that's what a lot of these guys have complained about with these 9-to-1s here. It takes a lot of motor to get around this place. You got to pull up out of the hole. You see these guys go through the corner too wide like this. The guy on the inside is bogging his car down. The guy on the outside lets it run free, more like a Talladega or a Daytona like that. And he gets the advantage down the racetrack, but down the straightaways. When these guys put their qualifying setups on and put new tires on, it just stopped some of these guys for some reason. They just didn't have enough motor to pull through it.
Hey, look at our Napa field summary. You see the laps led by manufacturer and the rookie points right now.
And Randy LaJoy, that one car, the Bob Evans, the red and white Bob Evans restaurant #1, he started in 38th position, and he has marched his way all the way up to 16th. Bill Weber, you got more?
Randy LaJoy was very optimistic in the garage area this morning. He said he was coming to the front and he was going to make a path to get there. The reason he had to start so deep in this field, he pulled off a pit road on his qualifying lap and felt the car get very loose. He went through 3 and 4 getting ready to take the green. It was both tight and loose all the way around. He had a very bad lap, came back to the garage, found out he had a flat tire. He actually qualified on a flat tire. Had to take a provisional, start in the rear of the field, but said he would have a good car in the race. So far, so good.
And he also told me that he had been threatened. He had to win this race today. I said, who threatened you? Car owner, crew chief? He said, no, my wife. It's her birthday. He said, go out there and win that race and come on and take me to dinner. He said, I'm going to come on and take her to Bob Evans. Right. Well, LaJoy making his way to the field, the former 2-time Busch Series champion, trying to pick up his first win of the year 2000. And there's the guy they're chasing, Jeff Burton. NorthernLights.com Ford Taurus, owned by Jack Roush. Burton leads Todd Bodine and his teammate Mark Martin, along with Nemechek and Green, in the top 5. 24 laps are complete. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, they're still chasing that car number 9. That is Jeff Burton, the NorthernLight.com Ford Taurus. We have 28 laps complete of 200. Now, the 4th place car right side of your screen, that is Joe Nemechek. And he's begun to reel in that lead threesome a little bit.
Last time by, he was the fastest car, the top 6. As Mark Martin looks to the mirror, sees Joe Nemechek coming up close, getting closer. He said, well, I guess I need to pass this number 66 of Todd Bodine. And once again, last time by, Joe Nemechek had the fastest lap of the top 6 cars.
All right, tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, it's National Hockey Night on ESPN2. The St. Louis Blues face off against the Florida Panthers. The Blues currently leading the Western Conference, while the Panthers' Pavel Bure is first in the league with 45 goals. That's National Hockey Night on ESPN2 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. More log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
Now that last lap, Mark Martin was clearly the fastest car of the top 6. Joe Nemechek, our WorldBestBuy.com telemetry. Look at the RPM. 8,100 RPMs. You don't see that very much for these cars with 390 carburetors.
He just, I tell you what, that car is turning a lot of RPMs because it's driving really good. You saw in that shot, he just turned left on Todd Bodine and drove under.
Here's LaJoy making a move beneath Tony Raines at his 4th position. That's for 14th spot. Randy LaJoy trying to keep his promise to wife Lisa. Started 38th, is now 14th. Wow, he's gained 24 positions in 31 laps.
But as Randy LaJoy has tried to work his way through the field, he's now 17 seconds behind the leader, which is just about a half lap.
Riding along with Joe Nemechek. New sponsorship, new colors on Nemechek this year for the NASCAR Busch Series action, going by the 74 P.J. Jones. P.J. being shown a lap down, now in 41st position. Burton and Martin, the pair of Roush teammates, are 1st and 2nd. Nemechek, the car you're riding with, is a 3rd place car. There's the Winn-Dixie Ford of Mark Martin right up in front. There's the interval there between 2nd and 3rd. Todd Bodine now back to 4th spot in the 66 car.
Just in front of our leader, Jeff Burton. He started in lap 3 cars, but there's several cars, 6 or 7 cars in the same straightaway with the leader, Jeff Burton. Now these guys that are just about to go a lap down are going to have to start trying to run just a little bit harder if they can. And look at him 3 abreast. Michael Waltrip on the outside of Timmy Fiedel in 36. That's Mike Dillon in 21. Jeff Gordon trying to catch up. Gordon is now 21st.
These guys scrambling, knowing that Jeff Burton is coming to put him a lap down. Mike Dillon, the car 21. And just a moment ago as we were watching that scramble in the back of the pack. Nemechek able to get by Mark Martin. You take a look back at the Winn-Dixie Ford. Joe Nemechek now taking the second position away. Nemechek, the 1992 Busch Series champion. There you see his progression. All the way up the second spot.
And Jeff Gordon about to lose another spot to Jack Sprague. Sprague in the 15, Gordon in the Pepsi car.
Sprague making his second start of the year in the Albertson Chevy for Andy Petrie. He'll run 10 events in that car. Gordon will run a handful of his first start of 5 in the Pepsi Chevrolet. They'll be driven by Ricky Hendrick for much of the season. Rick Hendrick's 18-year-old son. And what about our pole sitter from Daytona? Hut Strickland, the car 61, the IWX Pontiac. There he is. Hut's made progress to 9th position. Now working on Kevin Grubb for position.
Hut started back in 13th, has moved up 4 spots.
Well, he was a victim in Daytona. A car cut a tire and spun right in front of him. Chad Chaffin took him out. But he had a great race car in Daytona after sitting on the pole. And good to see Hutt back in racing after being out for a few years, not being able to get a full-time ride. Good to see him back and having the kind of success that he deserves.
Like Dave Hughes, the crew chief on this car, have clicked right off the bat. As we watch this, I'll tell you that up front, that last lap, that Jeff Burton was about a mile-and-a-half-hour slower than both Nemechek and Mark Martin.
And so they're about a third of a lap, about 2 turns behind the leaders as they flash by.
And that was their pole sitter, Hank Parker Jr., going a lap down to Jeff Burton. Tough break.
And crew members stretching, getting loosened up, getting ready for pit stop that should be coming up in about another 20 laps or so. 38 of 200 laps are complete. There's Joe Chase and Jeff Burton here at Vegas. Back in a moment. Championship Week presented by 7-Up is on ESPN and ESPN2. 58 games, 32 conference championships. Our resident experts will have extensive coverage of the ACC, Big East, and Big Ten wall-to-wall basketball on the worldwide leader. And, of course, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, how about the 19th-ranked Terrapins of Maryland taking on Virginia, followed by the Sooners of Oklahoma ranked 20th, and their arch rival, the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. That's 9 o'clock Eastern Time. For more, log on to ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network, go.com. College hoops coming your way on the worldwide leader. And just a couple of laps ago, back here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, got a little bit fast and furious. Take a look.
You see Chad Chaffin in the 77 car just turns left, tries to get under the 24 car, and they're 4 wide. He forces Adam Petty down on the apron of the racetrack, and he had to back out of the gas, and in backing out of the gas, almost spun out.
Yeah, I saw that a minute ago. I didn't notice that Adam was involved in it until right now. Maybe I shouldn't have seen that.
Mike Borkowski in for an unscheduled stop a little early. Let's check in his pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, it's been a bad couple of days for this team. They just got the black flag out on the racetrack because the car was not going fast enough out on the track. Of course, Mike wrecked the primary car in happy hour. The crew got the backup out, got ready to go. They headed back to the hotel, and while they were sitting at an intersection, somebody plowed into the crew van. So this crew has really rolled snake eyes down here in Vegas.
And to make matters worse, they held him for speeding on pit road. Not been a good couple of days for Mike Borkowski, who had that great qualifying effort at 8, but lost their primary car, as you said yesterday, in happy hour. Nothing happy about that. There's the guy they're chasing. Whoa, one car that's buckshot slips right in front of Jeff Burton. Getting back in.
Looked like when Burton drove up behind him that he took some air off that rear spoiler, and the double zero, the cheesy car got loose going in the corner, and Buckshot chased it up the corner. And Kylie's trying to put a lap right now on Bobby Hamilton Jr., another guy who struggled this weekend.
I tell you what, Bobby Hamilton Jr. was one of the fastest cars here all week long. Got a new sponsor, Baywatch, and we're talking the Baywatch, okay? So, got a new sponsor and all that stuff. And he hit yesterday one of the hardest hits that I've ever seen. It twisted the seat in the car. It was incredible, and they didn't get a lot of time in the car to come back, and he's had to start at the back of the field, and he's picked up 8 or 10 positions, but nothing like they were running before. They were going to be really competitive today.
And he is a very talented young driver. Talking about second generation Bobby Hamilton Jr., the Dave Carroll Motorsports, Todd Losey, and they had one of the cars to beat. Unfortunately, they had a problem in practice.
Jason Keller, a very good race car. The red and white car going a lap down. Blaze Alexander, track phone car going a lap down to Jeff Burton. And now he's up to the 30th place car is now lapped down.
Going after Glenn Allen Jr., the next car he would be in line to lap, the 29th place car. So a year ago it was Mark Martin who dominated here, led 150 at 200 laps, and today it could be his teammate Jeff Burton who looks to have the upper hand, at least in the first 47 laps at Las Vegas.
But just 3/4 of a second back. Here comes Joe Nemechek and Mark Martin. Well, that time, the second and third place cars lost about a half lap because Burton cleared the traffic. He had pretty clean racetrack. They were struggling trying to lap cars and lost a half second to the leader.
It's been over a year since Jeff Burton won a Busch Series win. His last win came at Rockingham back in February a year ago. There's a look at Nemechek. Lyndon Amick in for his first pit stop a little bit early. You expect him to go almost 70 laps, but maybe they're pitting for a reason. We'll take a look at some of the tires coming off the right side.
Well, a lot of times you change your pit strategy. You start a race like this, and you get so bad, or your car is so bad so quick, it's either not driving good, that you go to a short pit strategy, and you try to short pit everybody. But once you go to the short pit, you got to stay with the short pit. That's what happens to a lot of teams, is they'll try to long pit one time, short pit the next time, and it ends up coming back to bite them. But if you can stay with the strategy, it can work for you.
And there's a battle for about 22nd on back to 26th. And they're not that far in front of the leader, so they're all going to be struggling, trying to run just as hard as they possibly can now.
This is a pretty decent pack of cars right here if you look at them with Michael and Jeff Gordon, Adams in that pack, Speedowa. But the problem is they end up racing each other all the time and not spreading out, and they can't get away from the leaders. No matter what they're trying to do, they end up running 2 and 3 wide. When the leaders catch these guys, they're not going to work through this batch of traffic as quick as they work through the other track or other packs of traffic, because this pack is a decent pack.
Mark Martin trying to make a move again to take the second position back away from Joe Nemechek. Winn-Dixie colors for the 41-time winner in Busch Series action. Lyndon Amy's car 35 just made the pit stop a moment ago back in front of Mark Martin. You see Amick is up high in front of Nemechek, and Martin has the clean line inside.
A lot of brakes there Nemechek is using. Phil Parsons, a 59 Kingsford car, on the inside of Michael Waltrip, trying to take over the 24th spot.
And you look at the top of your screen, you see the leader, that black car. That is Burton coming into the picture there. He is about, 6 or 7 car lengths back of this pack at most, right behind Chad Chapman. There's the 9-year-old at the bottom of the racetrack.
And this is the pack I was talking about a minute ago. These guys have been running 2 and 3 wide, and as the leaders get through them, unless they line up and get in line, he's going to have a tougher time because he's got to fight his way around 2 and 3 cars at a time.
Burton now has gone by Chapman, trying to work over Mike Dillon, the 21 car. Down beneath the line, he goes underneath Dillon.
And Dillon right now is a 25th place car. Phil Parsons would be the next car. He's in 24th. He's got a pretty good race. Started back in 4th. He's picked up 16 spots, but while picking that up, Jeff Burton is come around and about to lap him. And Michael Waltrip, the 7 car, running his usual high line.
Battle for 6th position. That is Jeff Green, the Nesquik Chevy. Kevin Harvick, the former Winston West Series champion, 1998 Winston West champion, has won on this racetrack. He won in February of '98 here in a Winston West car. So he likes this track for the 1st and 3rd place finish in that division. Jason Keller in with the Excedrin crew.
Now they can make it I think they can make it the rest of the way. So as he's been lapped. He might as well stop and make some adjustments and hope that he goes out and is able to run faster. This is, I think, pretty good strategy on Steve Adams and these guys, the crew's part.
Yeah, they'll have one more pit stop after this to make it to lap 200. There's, you see Michael Waltrip and Ronnie Silver, and the crew will go to the right side of the Band-Aid Chevrolet, take on right side tires. No tire rule that affects green flag stop, just a caution flag stop, so they have 3 per position. Made a significant chassis adjustment there, Kyle.
Yeah, they definitely made a chassis adjustment. I was watching. He's a little bit outside the box. I didn't know whether NASCAR was going to call that or not as the official walked around it. But, yeah, he's made a chassis adjustment. If you watched his car, he's gone into the corner and almost stopped in the middle of the corner because he's running so high. That's why they needed to come in and do something a little bit earlier than other people.
We'll watch and see when Jeff Burton, when Tommy Morgan, his crew chief, decides to call in the leader. We're expecting sometime in the next 8 to 10 laps, possibly, we could see the NorthernLight.com Ford Taurus on pit road. 56 of 200 laps are complete. Great crowd on hand here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're expecting over 80,000 today to watch the exciting Sam's Town 300. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here's a picture you normally see on Sunday afternoon. Jeff Gordon in the car number 24 and the car number 9 of Jeff Burton. Problem is, Burton's a leader, and Gordon is trying to keep him going a lap down. He's being shown in 22nd position in the Pepsi Chevy.
And these cars are different colors than we'll see tomorrow afternoon. And Burton tries, and there we see Casey Atwood coming down pit road. Bill Weber.
And this is a scheduled stop. They've been talking about it for a few laps. Might have been too fast entering pit road. In fact, that will be the case. So Casey Atwood could be facing a penalty here following his pit stop. Looking for his stall all the way down pit road, past the timing stripe and into his pit. From 15th to 5th so far. He'll get 4 tires and fuel. They will make a wedge adjustment. He's paraded well through the field, but so far nobody's been a match for those top 3 cars. 1 round of wedge, a round to the left side, 2nd can of fuel. Jack goes underneath, tires are off. But on the left side rubbers, you can see Jim Ball, the NASCAR Bush official, standing in front of the car. They will hold Casey Atwood, and now the time starts once the Jack lowers the car to the ground. So a very costly penalty, too fast entering pit road for Casey Atwood, being held by the NASCAR official.
That 15-second penalty, and that is very difficult, Kyle, to do. The speed on pit road 45 miles an hour, and they're averaging over 150 miles an hour on the racetrack.
Yeah, you go from 150 or 55 miles an hour down to nothing. But the problem is, look at the entrance right here. You see him come off the racetrack. This is the line right here, right there. He's got to be at 55 when he gets to that first line. The problem is, right there in the middle of the corner, he was 110 coming off the racetrack. He's got to slow down almost 60 miles an hour in that short of space, and it's just tough to gauge it at a racetrack like this.
Well, that's great. Jeff Gordon trying to hang on, driving for all he's worth up behind Jason Jarrett's Rayovac Pontiac, but to no avail as Jeff Burton will go by and put the 21st place car now 1 lap down. So just 20 cars are on the lead lap, as here is Buckshot Jones at Cheez-It Pontiac on pit road for his first scheduled stop.
And we see him come down, slide to a stop. Crew goes to work. Jack is up. Tires off.
Sandy Jones' crew now makes a slight chassis adjustment in the right rear. Get that grill nice and clean. Left side tires going on.
Signal the tank is full. Now finally make a chassis adjustment. Jack is down, away he goes, 18.8. Not bad, 4 tires, chassis adjustment, and a full tank of fuel.
Why are we seeing so much of a spread among the pit stops, among the lead cars? We've seen them 5 laps ago, now last lap. I mean, we still haven't seen our leaders come in yet.
Because the leaders are running okay. It's the guys that aren't running so well that need to come in and make some adjustments, as Adam Petty. Now the sprint car about to go a lap down.
Yeah, and once you go a lap down, once the leader passes you, it's not going to hurt you to come on in and pit. The way the racetrack seems and the way the history seems, this is a green flag racetrack. You watch Burton. Burton was very patient as he caught Jeff Gordon. He just rode there. He rode there until he caught Jeff in a box, went around him, and then drove off and left Jeff and caught the next pack. He caught Jimmy Johnson and Adam. Now he's got around these guys. You see him slowing down here. He must be coming in the pit this time. Ooh, that was a little tight. I don't know why he slowed down right there, because he slowed down and let Adam and Jimmy Johnson get back around, and that's kind of strange unless he just got himself in a box there that we couldn't see.
Now here's our pole sitter, or was a pole sitter, Hank Parker Jr., 25 years of age. Dave McCarty. Freddie Query's a team manager there. Been a huge asset to that team, the former Slim Jim All-Pro champion. So they go to work on that Team Marine Chevrolet. Rick Rathman getting the Team Marines involved. We're here and we're in Atlanta. Let's go down the Ray.
Well, guys, almost all the cars down on this end of pit road are talking about a tight condition. Joe Nemechek just radioed in, and he said he's losing the right rear. We saw Jeff Gordon come on to pit road right now, and believe it or not, we don't expect the Roush cars in for another 10 laps. So those front two cars are getting a very good chassis, and we're going to see the 36 car come in right now. Jimmy Johnson's also in his Alto Chevy, and Joe Nemechek is expected to come in a few minutes. The one car will come in right now, Randy LaJoie, and Nemechek expected in here in about 2 laps.
We're continuing on car number 1 of LaJoie. Left side tire is going on. Boy, what a run he's had from 38 starting position. Bob Evans Restaurant Chevrolet. He came on the pit road running in the top 10. Left front tire, left rear tire, getting those lug nuts nice. And trying to trouble with the left rear now, Benny. That's cost them some valuable time.
Got some kind of trouble. They're all looking back there. Finally, they let the car down. I don't know if the impact wrench had trouble with that or lug nuts fell off.
There's Hut Strickland, the IWX Freight Pontiac, coming down pit road. Lear, Alabama veteran for his first scheduled pit stop for the day. Let's go down the Ray.
Hut Strickland is in, and boy, they're very close to the line on the pit box as they come around on the IWX Pontiac. Right side is in. No chassis adjustment so far. Fuel will go in here, and again, as you said, Jerry, there will be one more pit stop in this race. The crew comes around to the left side. Looks like a pretty routine stop so well. Jeff Purvis in the 4 car is in. Let's go to Bill Weber.
And he's on his way. He got right side tires and left side tires. Most of these stops now, 4 tires and fuel. Randy LaJoie wanted to pull a spring rubber, but they didn't want to take a chance and do that under caution. He's had a great march to the front. They thought taking the spring rubber out of his car when he pitted would help, but they thought it would take too much time to do it under green flag conditions.
Mike McLaughlin was in a moment ago in the Gould's Pump Chevrolet. Here's the Trop Arctic Chevy for Todd Bodine, and it was our early leader, led the very first lap of the race, now moving at 45 miles per hour down pit road. Let's check in his pits and see what kind of service he gets.
Well, Jerry, when Todd gets here, they're going to make a couple of chassis adjustments. One, they'll go 1 pound of air pressure up in the left front. 4 tires here. Matt Kenseth also in right now. They may make a track bar adjustment on Todd Bodine. The number 66 car has right side tires now as the crew gets ready to come back around to the left side. Pretty routine here. Second can of fuel going in. Matt Kenseth is out of his pit now, and we're back to the 66s. They have a little bit of a problem on the left rear. This is going to be a 20-some second pit stop for Todd Bodine. He lost a little bit of time. Now Joe Nemechek comes in the Cellular One Monte Carlo. Nemechek having trouble with that right rear tire. He said he's losing the car. Joe just radioed in to Brian Patty and says, guys, we got to make this car better. There is no way we're going to catch the Roush cars. They go with the second can of fuel. Good pit stop going right here. They go to the left front. Fuel is done. Joe Nemechek's car is down and away. Mike Dillon will be in just a moment. The number 21 Rockwell car is on his way down pit road here as Dillon comes down 55 miles an hour. And guys, those Roush cars still out on the racetrack while all of these guys making pit stops. Now here comes Mike Dillon. The number 21 car comes in, also very close to that outside line of the pit box. We see a chassis adjustment going in the right rear there as they will lower the track bar. Right side, there goes 1 round, 1.5 or 2 rounds down on the track bar, and trouble. The jack man did not get the jack up in time. Left side tires now. Fuel is all done. A little bit of problem on the left rear there for Mike Dillon, and he's down and away.
Great pit work down as these first scheduled pit stops continue here. There will be one more pit stop, and there is Mark Green, the car number 63 Superflow Chevrolet. The oldest of the Green brothers, in fact, the middle of the Green brothers. There's David, Mark, and Jeff Green, and The Jeff Hensley crew now getting left side tires on that car, getting completely full of fuel at lap 74 of 200.
Kyle, why in the world we sent every pit stop the rear tire changer having trouble on that 63 car? The rear tire changer had trouble.
I don't know if their chains are adjusted bad, as far as jacking the car up where the tire's coming off. But one thing we are seeing that is slowing the pit stops down, there's an incredible amount of adjustment going on. You heard them talk about the one car wants to pull out rubbers. Some guys are wanting to put in rubbers. Some guys are making track bar adjustments. They're making wedge adjustments, stuff like that. It's just like you talked at the beginning. It's an elusive racetrack, and it's constantly changing. These guys yesterday practiced in sunshine. Today they're practicing they're racing under cloudy conditions, and the racetrack's a lot slower. So they're trying to maximize what they can, and it's throwing everybody out of sync a little bit.
And as you mentioned, it was considerably warmer when they qualified here a couple of days ago. It's about 12 to 14 degrees cooler today and overcast here at Las Vegas, and they're anticipating some rain showers this evening in the area. Right along with the Briggs & Stratton roof cam for Elton Sawyer, who made a 4-tire stop. Ricky Vyers, the crew, getting him out as he heads very deliberately down pit road at 45 miles an hour.
And you really don't want to speed when you leave the pit road, because then the penalty, you got to come back in for stop and go. So you lose much more than the 15 seconds that you would lose if you were speeding coming in. And never see the leader. Looks like Jeff Burton is finally... No, I thought he was going to stop.
That's his groove on the racetrack, down there below that line, like everybody else does when they come in. He just runs right there regular.
Hearing we may see the Nesquik Chevy on pit road for Jeff Green. He's one of the preseason favorites for the point championship. The 44 car may be out of fuel. And the 77 car, Chad Chaffin, has spun around coming on the pit road and got out in the grass and gets the Lear car righted.
And the penalty, 2 laps. He will be held for the spin entering pit road. Man, that is so bad. As we see Jeff Green, Nesquik car, going down pit road to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Benny, they wanted Jeff Green to come in last time by, but he was not able to get through traffic. He was stuck on the high side, so he could not get down to pit road. He made it in this time. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on the right rear of this car. No chassis adjustment. Fuel is going in right side. Pretty routine here so far for the 10 car. They had a terrible start to the season, but rebounded great at Rockingham. Here we go with the left side tires. They're working on the right rear. Working on the left rear, and left front. Jeff Green is down and away, 17.9.
Not a bad pit stop considering some of the delays others have had with that left rear tire and making the adjustments you heard Kyle talking about a moment ago. So we'll show you a moment ago what happened to Chad Chaffin coming onto pit road.
There we see him as he tries to get slowed for that first white line that Kyle Petty mentioned earlier. These spins are coming down through. And Kevin Harvick just missed pit road. There we see Harvick slow. He was trying to stop, could not get his stop. The same thing happened to Mark Martin. And here we see Jeff Burton, the leader, is finally going to bring the car to the pit road after 79 laps. Bill Weber, he's coming to you.
He has a long way to come down pit road. Meanwhile, his teammate Mark Martin, who started outside the front row, sits on pit road, getting 4 tires and fuel. 1 lap ago, Mark missed the entrance to pit road, had to slow, make another lap around. He's now on his way. Jeff Burton has had a remarkable run. They do not plan to make any changes at all to this car. They do want to make sure they get the grill clean. So we'll get 4 tires, work on the right side obviously first, put in the fuel, then come get the left sides. So far they haven't gotten the grill clean. The 2-car limping down pit road, he also missed the entrance a moment ago. They do get the grill clean, a quick stop. This has been a remarkable race for Jeff Burton. It was not a surprise to see those Roush cars stay out there for a long time under green. They knew they were going to get excellent fuel mileage today, and everyone else in the garage knew they were going to have a good car. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick moving over to the Busch Series from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, trying to make a name for himself now in a full-bodied stock car, getting right-side tires and then left-side tires. The fuel is all in. He's already learned one valuable lesson. You have to be paying attention when you pit. He rejoins the race.
24.4 seconds, Bill, for Todd Barrier and the Richard Childress crew there for Kevin Harvick. So, and now Kevin Grubb in the Timberwolf car, the Clarence Brewer-owned machine, as they will go to work changing 4 tires on. He is the final car to come in. As they watch the left side tires going up on car number 37.
Good lap, good pit stop for Grubb, 22.8. He was the leader as he made that pit stop. As you said, Jerry, being the last car to pit.
Now we've had a full cycle of pit stops as we are showing 81 laps. Here's the car number 8, Bobby Hillen Jr. Missed pit road a moment ago, and we were told he locked the brakes up to try to keep him spinning the car. There is back on the pit road is the car number 60. And apparently black flags, we are told, Bill, as the 60 cars headed back to you.
And it's our understanding the catch can is still attached to that car. Still attached to the rear of the car. Extra stop for Mark Martin. He comes back. The catch can is there. He'll go ahead and top it off with fuel, and he'll go out on his way. Very difficult sequence to swallow there on a very stout race car.
Wow.
And he's about to go a lap down. Jeff Burton goes by. Nemechek has gone by. So now the guy who looked like was a lead pipe cinch to win is a lap down.
Now we may see what that Winn-Dixie Ford is made of, because they've made Mark Martin mad. Left that catch can in. Now he's laughing about 3 or 4 seconds behind, so we'll see what he's got, because I bet you he's going to plant that right foot firmly in the throttle. 83 of 200 laps are in the books. Joe Nemechek being shown as our leader here in the Samstown 300. Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber, covering NASCAR Busch Series action live. 4th annual Samstown 300. We are approaching the halfway mark. We're about 12 laps away from the lap 100 mark in this 200-lap, 300-mile event. Take a look at this 1.5 mile D-shaped oval, essentially flat. The banking 12 degrees in the turns, but not a whole lot to be able to keep the cars up there.
Elton Sawyer, the Briggs & Stratton onboard camera, he's just about to go a lap down. That's the leader, Joe Nemechek, right behind. Jeff Burton, 2.5 seconds behind, but Jeff Burton is getting closer and closer. Last time by was the fastest car in the top 6. I'm sorry, the 17 car, who is currently in the 4th position, had the fastest speed last time. Nemechek goes by Lyndon Amick, puts him a lap down, and once again tries to close in on Elton Sawyer.
Elton is your 15th place car, so these guys between Mark and between Joe Nemechek and Jeff Burton, they've just devastated this field. They've just run right through it.
And right behind Nemechek is the 2 car, Kevin Harvick, who is a lap down. Remember, he missed the pit road and had to go back around again. And all the time he lost, making that extra lap, he's a lap down and closing in on 87, trying to get back on the lead lap.
He is in 16th position. There are 15 cars on the lead lap, and as you mentioned, Benny Harvick in the car number 2, the Richard Childress owned car, in 16th spot. You're wondering about Mark Martin, who had that penalty to have to come back on the pit road. Martin is being shown in 19th position, 1 lap down, so he is has quite a ways to go. There's a look at Joe Nemechek. Started back in 6th position. Currently being shown as our leader, former 1992 Busch Series champion.
And Jeff Burton getting closer and closer. That last lap, Burton averaged over 158 miles per hour. That's the fastest speed I've seen all day.
It may be the fastest one you've seen all day. We don't have Mark on the board right now. Mark's mad because he's had that thing hung in the back. There's no telling how fast he's out there running.
Briggs & Stratton onboard bumper cam, taking a look back at the car number 87 of Nemechek as he tries to flash to the inside and make the pass.
You see Elton giving plenty of room right there to the trioval of this place.
48 car. Mike McLaughlin is a new father this week. Wife Katie back home having a baby on Tuesday night. Thomas Michael McLaughlin, and there's Michael losing a position to the car number 1 of Randy LaJoie, a couple of Busch Series veterans battling for the 9th spot.
Randy LaJoie started 38th, has worked his way all the way up to 9th. So if he could start up front, might have had a chance today. Still have not had a caution flag at 93 laps.
You just jinxed us.
Well,
it's like when they say that guy hasn't missed a free throw in 6 weeks or something like that, and the guy throws a brick. Bob Evans Restaurant Chevrolet for LaJoie, 2-time series champions. Last win came a year ago, over a year ago now, back in Daytona in February of 1999. Trying to get his first win in the year 2000, being shown back in 9th position.
trying to close in on Jeff Purvis. Purvis is in 8th position. The next car that LaJoie will try to catch and pass. See the 33 car. Tony Raines. I saw him pushing that car. I guess he ran out of fuel or something because they were pushing that car down pit road. And Ron Hornaday gets by Mike McLaughlin, moves into the 10th position.
Hornaday quietly making his way toward the front. We mentioned last week at Rockingham, he started 26th and finished 3rd. Hornaday driving for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, taking over the ride after 2-time and defending Busch Series champion Dale Earnhardt Jr. moved to run for Rookie of the Year in Winston Cup. Closing in on the halfway mark, just 5 laps away. Nemechek still leading here at Vegas. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Joe Nemechek hoping to get the halfway flags next time by as the leader, but he may have to hurry because the car number 9, Jeff Burton, is coming in a hurry, and right behind Burton, there's the car number 9 of Burton. Well, a moment ago, right behind him was his teammate, Mark Martin, who has already gone around him and now trying to get to Nemechek to put himself back on the lead lap.
And here comes Mark makes it 3 wide, trying to go on the outside of Kevin Harvick and split the 63 car, I think that was, of Mark Green. Wow.
I told you they made him mad.
Yeah, they made him mad because that's not a Mark Martin move right there. That's, you know, Mark usually drives these things just as sharp as a tack. He just thinks about everything before. He's making stuff happen right now. He's trying to get back to that 87. You see him turn dead left in the middle of the straightaway, take him 3 wide down the backstretch. He's going to get to that 87 and get back in the lead lap somehow.
Like the old Jim Croce song, they've tugged on Superman's cape one time too many here today for Mark Martin. He's going to get back on the lead lap as he's moving it on Joe Nemechek. We are halfway home. That sign by 100 laps in the books, 100 to go here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And this traffic has allowed Nemechek to pull out from the second place car, the 9 car of Jeff Burton, by 2.25 seconds. Looked like Burton was going to move up and on his back bumper and pass him, but he's pulled away a little bit. But Mark Martin is the guy, as you guys have said, that is on the move.
Jeff Burton, the NorthernLight.com Ford Taurus, is 2.2 seconds back. Guy they're chasing is Joe Nemechek, as we have 101 laps in the books. It's Nemechek, Burton, Bodine, Kensington, Jeff Green. ESPN coverage of NASCAR 2000 continues with RPM tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Happy hour, 10:30 Eastern on the Deuce. And, of course, our coverage on Sunday, RPM Today and NASCAR Today, taking you up to our live ABC Sports coverage, flag to flag, of the NASCAR Winston Cup, CarsDirect.com, 400 at 2:30 Eastern Time. We'll wrap it all up with RPM Tonight at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network, go.com. And speaking of going, well, this guy here is trying to go as best he can, but Kyle Petty, I'm not sure Joe Nemechek has much to say about that 60 car coming at him in a hurry.
No, right before we went to break, like you said, they were 2.2 seconds apart, and Mark has just chopped it down to about 0.2 of a second all of a sudden. And he's biding his time. He's trying to get it. He needs to get around him in case a caution does come out, but Mark knows that he's in his sights now.
But meanwhile, Jeff Burton is not closed in. As a matter of fact, Joe Nemechek is pulling away from Jeff Burton right now.
Let's go down and check into the car behind the wall. Bill Weber is down there. Bill?
And that'd be the car of Bobby Hamilton Jr. As Kyle mentioned earlier, very difficult week for the 26 bunch. They lost a car in a vicious practice crash. And now Bobby Hamilton Jr. in his backup car behind the wall with an apparent engine problem. They're checking the plugs. They checked the plug wires. They continue to work underneath the hood of the Baywatch Monte Carlo. Also under the watchful eye of Baywatch star David Hasselhoff, who is here for the race today.
And there's the separation between Nemechek, the leader, and the lap car of Mark Martin. We'll show you Nemechek a couple of laps ago. Watch him in the car number 87.
There's Lyndon Amick in the 35. Nemechek just goes right up to the top of the racetrack and really tries to make that corner as round as possible, and he's doing a great job of it.
Yeah, he just tries to swing way into the corner. Where Mark makes all his time is through the corner. And if he can take a wider approach to the corner and hit the apex in the middle, then he can accelerate a little bit straighter up off the corner, and it saves his tires. But Mark just keeps hammering right there, waiting for a mistake to happen.
If you just joined us, Mark Martin was among the leaders for much of the first half of the race. Came down for his scheduled pit stop on lap 80. They left the catch can attached to the back of the car. He was black flagged, had to come back in. Stopped to go to remove the catch can. He was a lap down in 19th position when he went back out. Now he is being shown still a lap down, and well, almost a lap down. Car number 20, Mike Borkowski, we're told, may have had a little contact with the concrete. He slows as the rookie driver, and we'll watch again Mark Martin trying to get back on the lead lap.
Tries to accelerate it by, cannot quite make it. He goes on the inside of Nemechek. They'll go through the corner side by side. I think Mark has the preferred lines. We'll let the car drift up, and he will get by Nemechek.
So now if the caution were to come out, Mark Martin will be able to go back and get on the lead lap. And there is a caution, a car in the wall in turns 1 and 2. That is Mike McLaughlin. Heavy contact with the Gould's Pump Chevrolet, both front and rear. And that will bring out the first caution flag of the afternoon here on lap 111.
And Mark Martin, as you said, Jerry, is now back in the lead lap. And wow. And the right rear tire is flat. Kyle, that looks like the problem that caused this accident.
That could have been a problem. You don't know whether it happened in an accident or what, but Mike had begun to drop a little bit. I know Adam was back running in about 18th or 19th, and Mike had dropped from racing up there with the one car and some of those guys all the way back to 18th or 19th, so it could have been a little problem.
Pretty vicious hit by Mike McLaughlin. Unfortunately, you see in the in-car camera, the Gould's Pump in-car, he taking the helmet off and able to talk to the crew. We mentioned that he and wife Katie celebrating the birth of their son. A very frustrated Mike McLaughlin right now, though, but a very happier time earlier in the week on Tuesday in Charlotte, where Katie and little Michael Thomas are watching. It's not the kind of ending they wanted to have to this race here today. Mike finished a disappointing 26th at Daytona, finished 15th after qualifying fairly poorly at Rockingham, drove the car very well and finished 15, but will not get a top 15 today. Once again, there's the car spinning.
And the only car, there was not another car around him, but that left front goes in and makes some heavy contact, and also the left rear. They might say the center section of that car, but the front and rear are gone.
Yeah, and that's a bad part about a racetrack like this. When something happens entering the corner or in the middle, it just gets wicked. You see him come past the start-finish line right down on the line here, but you see these cars are pulling away from him a little bit on the straightaway, and he's dropped through this pack like a rock at this point in time. There doesn't appear to be anybody anywhere close, and it turns right there. You saw it turn before it ever started.
Not the way you want to celebrate your 200th career Busch Series start. Of course, Mike McLaughlin, he is okay, but as you guys said, that car will need some serious work, as most of the cars, or lead cars, or at least are on pit road getting service. There is Nemechek in the 87. You saw Todd Bodine sitting there. Here's the car number 9 exiting. That is Jeff Burton. Fresh rubber going on that Winn-Dixie Ford. They could be in trouble for Mark Martin. Now he is back on the lead lap. LaJoy is in, Purvis in. There's Hut Strickland.
Day was running 6 before this caution flag came out.
Hornaday is on pit road. Casey Atwood. All the cars that are on the lead lap, and there are 11 of them. They were allowed to pit the first time by. Only cars in the lead lap can pit. And there's the crash site of Mike McLaughlin's Gould's Pump Chevy. Safety crew there looking at the front of that car, front and rear.
Once again, just looking at the car and the right rear tire, I would expect that something happened. He had cut the right rear tire and was losing air, and all of a sudden when he goes down in turn 1, the air goes out of it and around he goes. Let's see if we can hear anything on the onboard camera.
Wow. That pretty much tells you how it was. Very loud and very grinding crash there for Mike McLaughlin. Fortunately, he is okay, but hoping to be able to get a nice top 5 finish in the Busch Series points. Not a great way to begin the year. Back with more live coverage from Las Vegas here in just a moment. Picturesque panorama over Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Mile-and-a-half facility located about 17 miles north of the famous Las Vegas Strip. We are working caution for the first time today. We'll show you our Napa field summary with Joe Nemechek, Jeff Burton, Todd Bodine, Matt Kenseth, and Mark Martin back on the lead lap. That's how they're running right now, the top 5, as we are just past the halfway point. 16 cars are on the lead lap with David Green, the last car, being shown with the leaders.
Remainder of the field, 31-243. We see Michael Richards had some problem, and Bobby Hamilton's car is behind the wall. I think now Mike Borkowski's car also behind the wall, and Mike McLaughlin's car is not going anyplace except on the back of a wrecker.
That is the reason for our first caution flag today. A vicious hit by Mike McLaughlin down in turn 1 as they have the flatbed truck there to pick up that car. And fortunately, because of the roll cage and the seat belts, Mike McLaughlin is okay. And Benny, as always, safety is paramount in NASCAR racing.
You know, last year was a lot of discussion about wheel tethers and hood tethers and what have you. And when Mike McLaughlin crashed was a clear example of just how well that those pieces worked. Watch McLaughlin Gould's pumps. Chevrolet's, it goes down the corner. And listen. Bam, that's right. And look at that. You see the hood bracket is broken, but the tether that holds the hood on has the hood attached. It isn't going anyplace.
And you
Looking like a champ.
Got to give a call to Mike Helton and Gary Nelson, all the people involved, you know, John Darby with the Busch Series, we should say, but involved with safety, making sure those tethers are on there, keeping that hood in place, and they have tethers to the wheel assembly, to the spindles, to keep those in place if there's an impact, so that all the debris stays with the car on the racetrack. Mike McLaughlin is okay. The car, not so safe. Unfortunately, it'll need to be repaired. Back in a moment. Working the first caution flag today here coming out on lap 111. The leaders have been on and off pit road. Let's check in the Joe Nemechek pits first with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, Brian Patty is down here checking out the fuel mileage situation. First time you guys came in was lap 71, and you needed about all the fuel you could get in there. How far can you go on this run?
I hope all the way. We're looking right now, see how long the caution's going to take. I think there's only 10 cars on the lead lap, so I don't know. It'll be decision time here in a couple laps.
If we get 2 more laps of caution and they go on 120, that's 80 laps to make it to the end. What do you think?
I'll be pitting.
Okay, that's the story here. Let's find out about Mark Martin. I believe Bill Weber is with Tony Lambert.
It has been a very exciting day for Tony Lambert and company. More exciting than you had planned. First of all, did Mark miss pit road on his first attempt, Tony?
Yeah, we had talked about it earlier. It's kind of tough to get in, and our car is real loose. And when he tried to come in, he said he'd have spun it out if he had tried to make it. So he decided to stay out and just make another lap. Then other things went haywire, too. So it's been kind of a bad day here for a little while.
Yeah, that would be the catch can left in the rear of the car. But before your second pit stop, the one you made just a few moments ago, you gave a pointer to your catch can man. What was that?
I told him he better hang on to it even if it drags his butt down pit road.
And Tony, obviously the next question is fuel mileage. You've gotten exceptional fuel mileage here today. Can you reach the finish?
We're hoping. This is a good place to gamble. And we're doing some gambling right now. It's paid off once, and hopefully it'll pay off again for us when Dixie Ford.
So you haven't made your decision?
Not yet. We're hoping there's another caution, but we'll see.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so it has been a very exciting day for Mark Martin and company, but they did get themselves back on the lead lap. Mark Martin currently 5th after falling a lap down under green flag conditions. A remarkable run coming off the win at Rockingham 1 week ago.
Mark Martin gave Tony Lambert his first victory as a Busch Series crew chief here a year ago. Take a look at the pit stop summary. Look at Mark Martin. He came in an 11th spot and came out 5th. I mean, that's incredible work in the pits by Tony Lambert and the crew. And just 19 laps ago, Mark Martin was running 19th a lap down. He'll be 5th on the restart. Back in a moment. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, getting set for the green flag now. A number of cars coming on the pit road to top off their tanks. We still have 80 laps before we get the checkered flag, so it's going to be very close for a number of cars on fuel. You heard Joe Nemechek's crew chief Brian Patty say they couldn't make it 80 laps. And we pretty much figure Mark Martin can make, because he went 80 laps on his very first stop.
Well, I don't know. Tony Lambert was certainly not letting us know if he could make it or not make it. He said hoping for another caution flag, but we'll see. Maybe he can make it. But most of those cars that pitted are on the tail end of the lead lap.
Joe Nemechek opting to stay in position at the head of the field. Let's check in with Bill.
Jerry, just really briefly, one reason Tony Lambert wasn't committed to that was because they were waiting for Burton's team to calculate their fuel mileage. They know what the 60 can do. They wanted to find out what the 9 could do before they made their final decision. They're still working on those numbers. Then they'll compare. Remember, they are both Roush teammates in the Winston Cup Series, and then they'll make their decision as to whether they'll need to come back in.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bill. We'll check on those numbers for you just very shortly. Getting set for the restart here after the first caution flag. First and only caution flag of the day, coming out on lap 111 from Mike McLaughlin. Matt Abernathy waves the green flag, and Nemechek will lead him down on the restart here on lap 122.
And look at him behind 4 or 5 wide. Oh, we got a crash. Jason Jarrett is in the wall coming off turn 2. The Rayovac car.
And his car up across the racetrack. It now comes across the racetrack and rolls down on the apron.
See if
A couple of guys trying to get laps back, including Jeff Gordon, and he can't quite get by Nemechek. He and Kevin Grubb were trying to pedal by the 87 car. And just that quickly, we have a second caution flag today, and unfortunately, it's a third-generation driver, Jason Jarrett, in the Rayovac Pontiac. There's what's left of the back of that car. Pretty heavy impact into the outside wall on turn 2.
Well, now then, if these cars have any doubts about making it, we run a few laps. We run a lap on the green flag. We're going to run a few laps on the caution flag. I would expect that these top 6 or 7 cars that did not pit the last time will be making a pit stop and topping off for fuel. Now with what, going to be about 75 laps to go when the green flag waves.
I would think that both Jeff Burton and Mark Martin, who pitted the first time at laps 79 and 80 respectively, would be okay now on gas. And I'm still talking with Nemechek this morning. They were still concerned about making it past 75 laps. So I wonder, this has got to help them tremendously.
Because these laps run under the caution flag does not use as much fuel as laps run under the green flag. See a car peeling off, making a pit stop. Looks like Randy LaJoy.
That indeed is LaJoy. He will come down. Drew now will come over and just add fuel to the car.
And we see where they're tightening the lug nuts on the right front. See if we see, there we see the 11 car of Jason Garrett. Then he gets a bump from Buckshot Jones right in the back, and around goes Jason.
Yeah, they just got bunched up there, and Jason was driving ahead like he was supposed to be doing. And he checked up a little bit, and Buckshot evidently didn't see it happening in front of him and run in the back of him. Yeah, it was just an innocent deal on both of them's part. Jason was watching it, and you saw the cars right in front of him just get bunched up, a car to shoot to the outside, and all of a sudden, boom, he's hit and spun around.
Here's Hank Parker's onboard camera. He's right behind. And you can see just the smoke as he gets beneath Jason Jarrett. He was behind Fedewa and the 00 of Buckshot.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. back on the racetrack. He sees the smoke, goes down low.
There's Jason out of the car, walking around surveying the damage. He's okay, but the back of that Rayovac Pontiac's going to have to be rebuilt prior to heading to Atlanta next Saturday. Got to wonder if some of these other cars may come on the pit road and top off.
Here comes Nemechek, the leader, giving up the lead.
Didn't think they'd be able to make it, so he will come down at 45 miles an hour. Also, Matt Kenton, the Daytona winner, the Visine Chevrolet. Let's go down the Ray.
Well, Joe Nemechek and Brian Patty were talking it over on the radio, and Joe says we can't pit, and Brian says we have to. If there's no caution, we'll never make it all the way. But we thought that all the other cars would come with him. But Joe Nemechek comes down fuel only this time, and he will go out. He's going to give up the lead here, but they'll have enough fuel to go all the way. And the car's awfully good, so they hope they can race their way back to the front.
Still 38 cars on the racetrack as we check in once again now in the mark down behind the pit area with Bill Weber.
And Mike McLaughlin is here talking with Greg Zipadelli. First of all, let's establish you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. I want to say everybody back home, Katie and our newborn, Michael Thomas, family, everybody's been a lot of support this week. Appreciate everything. I'm fine. Cut a right rear tire. We were good the first run, a little bit loose second run. Cut the tire. Disappointing. We're a little bit behind. New team, but got a good bunch of people. Great sponsor with Gould's Pumps, Lumar, and Mitel. We'll be back to Atlanta next week.
Very hard hit.
Yeah, it was, you know, it gets your attention, that's for sure. Disappointing, that's all. You know, we needed to come out of here with a finish to try and get established into the points, you know, by the time that fourth week rolls around. But we'll just give it the best shot we've got next week in Atlanta.
Do you think you burned up that tire because you were loose, Mike? Is that what happened?
It could be. You know, I doubt that I wore it out. More than likely, probably cut it on something.
Okay. Well, sorry about the crash, but congratulations on the berth.
Well, thank you very much. I've got something to smile about anyway,
Sure
right?
do.
That's right.
Okay, that's Mike McLaughlin. He's behind the wall, but there's action out on pit road.
Indeed, Jeff Burton coming down pit road, and maybe a little bit unexpected, but if they're that close, why gamble when you get that good a race car? He comes down, and Tommy Morgan and the Roush crew will just top him off, clean that windshield, clean the grill a little bit, hook that gas can in, and the overflow can is there. Very deliberate pit stop. The guy's scrubbing the windshield. He might check the oil and the air in the tires the way he's being, just taking his time.
Looks like he stopped really and truly to get the windshield clean, Kyle.
Yeah, it almost does the way they're spending that much time on it, whether it's got oil on it or something that's eating through the layer that you put on it. But like you say, if he's got that good a race car, there's no need to even figure the fuel mileage. Come on in, top off, and go on down the highway. Casey Atwood did the same thing. They may have stayed out. Here's the 17 car leaving the pits again. He's been back in. Kenseth has been back in. So 2 or 3 of these guys are topping off and making minor adjustments right now, just under caution while they've got time.
And speaking of being under caution, we'll show you we are under the second caution flag today. For what reason? Well, unfortunately, the incident involving Jason Jarrett. He's in the car number 11, the Rayovac Pontiac, and the 00 Buckshot. Very, very close. There's the tap as Jason starts to go around, and that's the reason for the caution flag at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Back with more in a moment. Perfect timing. Restart lap 128. That caution out for 5 laps. And Todd Bodine is being shown as our leader, but there are a number of cars that put him in line as he tries to work his way back up by some of the cars that were a lap down.
There's the Elton Sawyer, Kevin Grubb, the 18 Jason Leffler, Jeff Gordon, all trying to stay in front of the 66 car in case of another caution flag.
They would be on the tail end of the lead lap. Gordon, the 24 car, the Pepsi colors, not the DuPont colors you're accustomed to on Sunday.
Meanwhile, that's a battle for the lead. We've got Mark Martin, the Winn-Dixie car, coming up right behind Todd Bodine.
Martin is the 60 car, Bodine the 66. Of course, Jeff Gordon, the 24, Kevin Grubb, the 37, Elton Sawyer, the 98 car. Those are cars that are on the tail end of the lead lap. You're wondering why they don't move out of the way. They're trying to hang on the lead lap.
In case that caution flag comes out, the pace car picks up the leader, which would be Todd Bodine, and they get to go around and make up 1.5 miles.
Let's check in the pit once again. Ray Dunlap, right?
Well, Jerry, when it comes to the 10 car for Jeff Green, Harold Hawley, the crew chief, said they should have about a half a gallon of extra fuel whenever this race is over. As far as the number 66 for Todd Bodine, Donnie Richardson said we can go to lap 199 for sure. After that last one, I'm not too sure, but he has now lost the lead to Mark Martin, so Todd Bodine falls back to second.
And meanwhile, Joe Nemechek and the 9 car of Jeff Burton, they're really behind a lot of traffic, which is going to allow Mark Martin to drive. Look at all that traffic that Nemechek and Burton have to try to drive through. You ever see Nemechek?
Both those cars are likely to come on the pit road on that last caution to top off their tanks with fuel. That's why they're back at the back of that pack with all those lap cars.
The yellow number 10, Jeff Green, is currently in 3rd spot, and we ride along with Joe Nemechek in 4th.
19 car, Jason Leffler, he's being shown a lap down. He's right between those cars. The MBNA Pontiac with the Joe Gibbs on team.
Four-car Jeff Purvis. He's back in 5th position, trying to close in. There we see the 9. There comes 9-car Jeff Burton. But meanwhile, this battle is going on a little over a second and a half behind the leader, Mark Martin.
And there's Burton, as you heard Benny mention a moment ago. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Burton is the 6th place car. You're riding with the 5th place car on the Porter Cable bumper cam for Jeff Purvis. Started back in 11th, and now he's trying to hang on to the 5th spot, but Burton's making a move to the inside.
You see Burton right in the middle of the corner, just turn left and go down to the bottom of the racetrack and accelerate. And that's the way his car and Mark's car and the 87 car of Joe Nemechek, all 3 of those cars have worked that way all day long.
Now a shot out the front off the roof cam, the onboard camera for Jeff Purvis. Now back in 6th position. Mark Martin is our leader. Todd Bodine in 2nd. Jeff Green is 3rd. Nemechek is 4th. Burton, car to the left of your screen there, is in 5th spot. In comes Purvis, back in 6th. Mark Martin trying to make a move by Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon in the car number 24, Benny, hanging tough, trying to stay on the lead lap. Martin had a run under him, and Jeff Gordon came down and took the position, trying to stay for as long as he can on that lead lap.
Elton Sawyer right in front of Jeff Gordon, also trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. And we see Mark Martin, the leader, kind of looking on the outside. Now Jeff Gordon goes up the hill, and here comes Mark. Going to try to make a move. Is he going to work?
You see Jeff went up the hill to try to make a run or try to get a little bit more of a run up off the corner on the 98 car, and Mark just turns left, like I said a minute ago with that Ford of his, turns left and goes straight to the bottom, just below the line, which is incredible.
Frank Jeff Gordon back a lap down. Gordon being shown in the 13th position. He is the first car a lap down. Side-by-side action. Burton and Nemechek for position. That's for the 4th spot. Right behind the 10 car in 3rd position. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all in that cluster there, the 10.
The 2 and the 37, both those cars of Harvick and Grubb are a lap down to the 10, 87, and 9. And Nemechek has gotten by Jeff Green. Here comes Burton trying to get by Jeff Green.
Nemechek says, do I take him? Do I go between them? Do I go between them? Kyle, what do you think?
You've got to be patient right here because you got two guys, two younger guys in Harvick and Grubb right there, and they're racing their hearts out for their position. You know, they don't care if these guys are racing for the win. They're trying to beat each other right here. Nemechek did a good job of being patient, not forcing the issue.
So many agendas we talked about at the top of the show going on here. Guys who want to win. Everyone wants to win the race, but some of the guys thinking about the big picture, the point situation, getting the championship on this long 32-race schedule.
Well, that's exactly right. You have to keep the points in consideration and in mind. The 87, the 9, and Mark Martin, they don't have to worry about a championship because they're not going to run all the races.
But I think it transfers all the way from the front all the way back through. You heard Mike McLaughlin say, you know, we really wanted to get a finish under our belt because these first 4 races and establish ourselves in points is important. And it doesn't make any difference whether you're 25th in points or whether you're 1st in points. You want to establish a pattern and work from there. And you want that pattern to be a positive pattern.
Battle for the lead. Todd Bodine drives up on the outside of Mark Martin. Mark has been trying to get by Elton Sawyer. Could not make it, and Todd Bodine goes by and takes the lead.
Todd Bodine hoping the 3rd time is a charm at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He's 3rd in 97, had an engine problem back in 99. Is there a problem with the Mark Martin car, or is he biding his time? Let's check in with Bill Weber.
I think you're seeing what Kyle was just talking about with some of the other drivers. You're going to see a little bit of patience here because, as you saw with that last caution, Mark opted not to stop. And I talked to Tony Lambert And he said the fact that they ran caution laps for the Jarrett crash helped them make the decision that they believe they can make it to the middle of the backstretch on the last lap on fuel. They're not sure that the car will make it all the way to the finish. It's going to be very close. But they decided, since they weren't running for points, they went for the track position and, of course, took the gamble.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that fuel situation. Mark Martin's pit stop was lap 113. Of course, there's been a lot of caution laps, but that's a long way to go, even though they were getting excellent fuel mileage. He runs second right now. Talking about Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford. It is his final year. He bid farewell to the NASCAR Busch Series, and now he's going to bid farewell in the second spot, or hope to anyway. We'll take a quick break and come back with more live action from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 141 laps are in the books. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway here in Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm Jerry Punch, along with Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber. Glad to have you with us for live NASCAR Busch Series action. Todd Bodine running in second spot. When we left, he was leading, and Mark Martin made the move look easy. Gone by and pulled away by about 4 car lengths. But look at Martin's teammates starting to come up there and get a little racy with Todd Bodine.
We go by the line. Let's check and see low. Jeff Burton was 1.5 miles an hour faster than Mark Martin that last lap as he looks on the inside of Todd Bodine.
About 4 or 5 laps ago, it looks like Jeff worked his way through that other pack. He got around Jeff Gordon and around Elton Sawyer, and it's like he thought to himself, hey, these guys are getting away. I got to jump up there real quick. And within about 2 or 3 laps, he reeled them in.
Burton looking on the inside, and we'll try to take the spot away. Get a look at that crowd on hand here. Almost 80,000 in hand for the Busch Series action. Speeds as they come by, over 156 miles an hour for the top 2 cars.
And Joe Nemechek that time had the fastest lap, but just a little bit faster than Burton, and her leader, Mark Martin, was third of those 3 cars.
Nemechek being shown 1.9 seconds back in 4th position. Let's check into the Todd Bodine pits with Ray Dunlap. Ray?
Well, Doc, the 66 car was good when he was the leader, but when he was tucked up right on the bumper of Mark Martin, the car got a very bad push, because one of the reasons is it's a Chevrolet. And with the Fords out front, Todd's car is a little bit better. And again, they do have to conserve fuel, so this is kind of strategy for him to lay back a little bit behind those 2 front Fords.
I guess, Kyle, you don't have a lot of choice when you can't get the car to turn out there. You have to stay back, and you can't get tucked up under somebody.
Yeah, if you can't get tucked up under somebody and run in that position, then the best thing is to drop back a little bit. But let me tell you something. You know, this is not Todd's strategy. Todd's strategy is to run up there and pass him and lead the race, no matter what he's doing, because he's not getting a lot of benefit running that far away from him as far as fuel mileage and stuff. He needs to be a little bit closer to be able to help his car a little bit.
Closing in on the 50 lap to go, Mark. 52 to go. As Mark Martin showing the way, it is Martin, his teammate Burton, Todd Bodine, Joe Nemechek, and Jeff Green in the top 5. Lap 148 is complete. You don't want to miss the next episode of NASCAR 2000, the Stars of the Future. Third installment of this show airs Saturday, March 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, only on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network, go.com. And here's a guy who's hoping to be one of NASCAR's stars of the future, Blaze Alexander, the former ARCA Rookie of the Year, driving for Felix Sabates and not having the best of days in the track phone WCW Chevrolet. Started in 28th, currently running in 25th. The likable Pennsylvania driver. If you want to know more about your favorite drivers, about what's happening on the racetrack, you can log on to www.nascar.com. NASCAR Online. Real-time information about what's happening at the racetrack, qualifying, what's going on in the garage area, and who's running where on the racetrack. NASCAR Online at www.nascar.com. Well, we're inside the 50 lap to go mark. Side-by-side action. We saw Ron Hornaday earlier today racing alongside veteran Michael Waltrip, and they're again side-by-side.
Now, Hornaday is running in the 8th position, and the red white car of Randy LaJoy is trying to chase him down. He's about a second behind. I think we see the red car just sneaking out on the inside, trying to get by a lapped car. Never see Randy LaJoy right in the left part of your screen. And wow, look at this 15 car of Sprague. It's a great run, but Sprague is a lap down to this group of cars. He's currently in 19th, the 15th car I'm talking about.
That's Tim Fedewood in the 36 car, the Stanley Chevrolet, being shown on 18th spot. He is a lap down.
And on the 18 and 7 up there, Jason Leffler and Michael Waltrip, they're battling for position.
Michael Waltrip in 16th spot. Jason Leffler in 17th. Leffler making only his 6th Busch Series start, and one of the rear window straps has come off the Lear machine, the Lear Ford. Chad Chaffin flopping back there as he is being shown back in 37th position, 4 laps down.
Yeah, I would expect that our camera is going to cause this fellow to get a black flag. Well, actually, I think the NASCAR officials posted around the racetrack and see that that strap is broken. And
Chad qualified 7th at Rockingham, had his best finish of the year thus far, 18th there. After cutting a tire at Daytona very early on. Let's check in once again on the pits with Craig.
Well, Jerry, the AT&T Pontiac number 20 car just came in for a pit stop, but the driver is not Mike Borkowski, who started the race. The driver now is Dave Blaney. The reason is he made the Winston Cup race for tomorrow. They qualified 36th. And Blaney said, I need some track time. They knew it was going to be a disappointing finish for the 20 car, so they said, let's take Mike out of there, put Blaney in, and maybe he can learn something about this racetrack.
Dave Blaney, who finished 7th in the Busch Series points a year ago. Very successful run in Busch Series, had 4 poles. Driving the car number 20, the AT&T car. It's owned by his Winston Cup car owners, Bill and Gail Davis. And Steve Bird. Birdie, the crew chief on this car, had won 4 Busch Series championships as a crew chief. So they got an outstanding crew as far as experience is concerned on that machine.
And another thing these guys may be trying to do, as you see the leaders racing right here, Mark and Jeff, is, you know, they come out here with a rookie driver with Borkowski. He did a phenomenal job. Wrecked in practice. They don't have a lot of notes. They're going to have to come back out here another time next year. They don't want to skip a race and go home with a crashed car and saying we didn't really learn anything. And maybe Blaney can teach the team something that'll help Borkowski when he comes back next time.
And Vinny, at the very beginning of the show, we talked about why these Winston Cup guys are running in this race. We mentioned the $1.1 million purse, but also just what Kyle was talking about, the experience today to help you for 400 laps or 400 miles on Sunday.
exactly. We've seen Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, and Joe Nemechek, all 3 of these guys that you know, their crew chiefs for their NASCAR Winston Cup car are monitoring their radios. They're listening to what they're saying. And I'm sure Mark and Jimmy Fending have had conversations about what they might need to do to Valvoline Ford for tomorrow's 400-mile race here.
You know, last year, Ray Evernham, who's now with us, will be a part of our ABC telecast tomorrow. He said that last year when they came out here and ran Jeff Gordon in the Saturday race, the Busch Series race, it helped them immensely for Sunday. And Gordon got his best finish ever in Las Vegas on the Sunday afternoon show.
And that's why they chose to run here at Las Vegas in the NASCAR Busch Series, just for some aid for Sunday's NASCAR Winston Cup race. See Mark Martin able to get by the 44 car of Glenn Allen. And there we see the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, being trying to be chased down by Jeff Purvis. That's about a for 6th and 7th.
You know, and Purvis run so good at Daytona not to get anything out of it when he overheated there. And you know, these guys have joined the Joe Gibbs operation, and Purvis is looking forward to a big year, and he's run in the top 10 every week so far this year.
Quarter cable colors for Jeff Purvis. As you said, Johnny Allen, the crew chief on that car. And he's closing in on Matt Kenseth now for position. That is the 6th and 7th spot. Less than 40 laps to go here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. If you just joined us, Mark Martin is the leader, but at lap 90, he was a lap down in 19th position because of a stop-and-go penalty. They left to catch the overflow can in the back of the car on their scheduled pit stop. They had to come back in. They were black flag, came back down pit road, lost a lap, was in 19th spot, 1 lap down, and he ran them down and passed them. And that's where we are. Mark Martin back on the lead lap and back in the lead at the race he won 1 year ago. Laps are winding down. Great crowd on hand. Glad to have you with us here in Las Vegas. Back in a moment. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Cobalt onboard camera for the Team Marine Chevrolet. That was our pole sitter today. Hank Parker Jr., who had trouble from the get-go, possibly an engine problem, slowing him very early on. Now being shown way back in 32nd position. But talking about battles, Royal, we've got one for you tomorrow night. National Hockey Night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Two of the NHL's best do battle. The Detroit Red Wings face the Dallas Stars, and the Stars' Brett Hull has 19 goals and 47 assists. Both Dallas and Detroit markets can see this game exclusively on ESPN. That's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. How about the Red Wings and the Dallas Stars? That should be a good one. ESPN and ABC are now the exclusive networks for all NHL action. And another battle moments ago involved the car number 87 of Joe Nemechek and the car 74. Take a look.
P.J. Jones comes off the corner and letting that car, if the car was pushed a little bit, he let it go up the hill and almost drove in the left side of the 87 car. Joe Nemechek, as you ride along with him, he's currently in 3rd spot, but he's 8 1/3 seconds behind Mark Martin, the leader, and Mark and Jeff Burton are just basically right now driving away from Joe Nemechek. As you see up in the left-hand corner, the rundown, we see 11 cars now in the lead lap.
Mark Martin, our leader, working some traffic going by the 00, the Cheez-It Pontiac of Buckshot Jones, and now working up on Wayne Grubb's car, number 83. Less than 30 laps to go. Martin breezing by on the inside. If you're wondering about the hood of Martin's car, that checkerboard flag emblem, in those white squares, they have put decals for every single of his 41 Busch Series wins, and that's a great way to commemorate his farewell tour here in NASCAR Busch Series racing.
Well, beginning this year, Jerry, I believe he had 40 victories, didn't he? And they left 10 squares blank for this year, and already at Rockingham they filled in one of the blanks. They only have 9 more to go, and the way he's going this year, he might complete all those white squares with a victory.
Well, he's batting 1,000 right now. He run one race at Rockingham. He's won that one. He said he's got to run 14 this year, Kyle, and he wants to win all 14. He said no mercy. I'm taking no mercy on anybody. My last year, I'm going to win them all.
That's what I was getting ready to say. They said they added 10 squares. They may not have added enough the way he's running right now and the way he's been running.
Indeed. Mark Martin, boy, what a good one he has been for the Busch Series, and coming back to his roots here. Started out in the ASA and then the Midwest, and now in NASCAR Busch competition.
Going to go by Blaze Alexander, now putting Blaze 2 laps down. Goes in right on the back bumper of Mike Dillon. Mike in the 21 car puts him 2 laps down. Mike is currently in 24th position.
25 to go this time by. Back with more live action in just a moment. Back at Las Vegas Motor Speedway here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the Sam's Town 300, 4th annual edition. Mark Martin in some pretty heavy traffic a moment ago, having to be very careful to pick his way by some of these lap cars.
Just lap gone by Tim Fiedel in the 36, the Stanley Tools car. Fiedel is currently in the 21st position. He now is 2 laps down. And Mark Martin, this is the hardest I've seen Mark Martin drive in a long time, Kyle.
Yeah, he's running really hard right now. He just lapped. You talk about him lapping Fiedel. You see him going around Casey Atwood. Casey Atwood is a 10th place car. He's come back from a lap down, and he's lapped these guys that are running 11th, Huck Strickland, Casey Atwood running 10th, and I don't know where LaJoy is, but he's the next guy in his sights.
Kyle, we see so many of these cars, including Mark a moment ago, down on the apron, almost down below that line. Is there any other racetrack that the cars get this low on them and get almost on the apron lap after lap?
No, the good part about this racetrack is the line gives you an optical illusion. The racetrack continues down that way. They just painted a line there. At most racetracks we run, That's a defining line. That shows where the angle of the asphalt changes. It begins to go into the bank, and there's a flat. Here, there's really not that much of a flat. It's more like a bowl. It just rolls down there. So if your car's a little tight, you can run below that yellow line or below that white line and drop your left front, de-wedge the car a little bit, and run a little bit freer through the center of the corner and up off. And that's what Mark and those guys are doing. They're able to run just good enough and just tight enough that they can drop down there and loosen it up and still drive straight up off the corner.
So you don't worry about the line. You're just concerned about getting on the grass.
No, the lines almost mess you up when they paint them on the racetrack. Yeah, you just don't want to get out in the green stuff. The green stuff will mess you up every time,
bad.
no matter what you do. But you know, the lines almost mess you up. You can see the overview here below the line, below the white line and the yellow line through the corners. It's black. That's where everybody's running. Mark Martin's not the only guy running there. Everybody wants to run there, and they run there on new tires. So the line really messes you up optically. You're looking at the corner, and you're saying, I shouldn't go below that, but it's okay to go below that at a place like this.
Now, if you go below the line and say in Atlanta next week, you're in serious trouble. You're down on the bank.
If you go below the line at a place like Atlanta, at some of the other places like Charlotte or stuff like that, your car ends up looking just like Jason Jarrett's car does, driven up to the back because it just turns the car around on you instantly.
Well, we have less than 20 laps to go. Mark Martin moving beneath Jason Leffler, and the car wiggles a little bit, but he's leading the way, and the Winn-Dixie crew waiting and watching for victory number 42. Less than 20 remain. Back with more. Welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Kyle Petty, Vinnie Parsons, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber, bringing you live Busch Series action, and it's been the Roush Shuffle. Both Roush teammates, Mark Martin in the 60 car, and there's his teammate Jeff Burton in the car number 9. New sponsorship with the NorthernLight.com Ford. Those are the front two cars. They're being chased by the car 87. And it's Joe Nemechek, and he is quite a ways back. Nemechek in third position, the car number 87. And it's just been there as a look at the 87 car, the second and one colors, new color scheme this year, new sponsor for Joe. Right along with Joe, but what about the Roush domination of this racetrack? I mean, in the Winston Cup events, 98, Mark Martin won it. Last year, it was Jeff Burton, so they've won both Winston Cup events. And, of course, Martin dominated this Busch Series race last year, and now it's been Burton and Martin most of the day today.
Looks like Jack Roush has a pretty good setup for a short track. There's a 66 car, Todd Bodine, the Phillips 66 Trop Arctic. He's currently in 4th place. And here we go. Jeff Burton closing right on the back bumper of Mark Martin with just 12 laps to go.
And remember, you heard Bill Weber talk to Tony Lambert, Mark Martin's crew chief, about they did not stop for fuel. They would be very close, and they could probably go maybe to the middle of the backstretch in that last lap or so. So we'll keep an eye on that fuel situation for the Winn-Dixie Ford. Meanwhile, his teammate, the 9 car, did make a stop and go there to top it off for fuel, so he should be okay.
Jeff Gordon, we see the Pepsi car once again trying to put another lap on Jeff. That would put him 2 laps down. Jeff is currently in 15th position.
And remember when this run started, Jeff was on the tail end of the lead lap. And Mark and those guys fought around him when Todd Bodine right after that last caution. And now these guys have run far enough that they come back around the racetrack and lap Jeff again, which is, it just shows how fast Mark and these guys were really going.
Napa Field summary shows you the points battle. Ford summary showing you that Mark Martin and Jeff Burton. Here is Kenseth in the car number 17 battling with Jeff Green. That is for 5th position. They are 5th and 6th. Neither one of them want 6th. Both of them want 5th.
That's what this is all about. Bolster, Hank Parker Jr. goes by. The Team Marines cars had some problems all day long.
Matt Kenseth was the point leader coming into the day. He will not run the full schedule. Jason Schuler out of the Little Light Southwest Series will run this car for about 15 to 17 races this year.
Kenseth is trying to drive up on the outside. Can't get a good run. Meanwhile, Mark Martin still leads. Jeff Burton just a third of a second behind. And this battle continues on for the 5th position.
Now, Jeff Green on the left side of your picture, the Nesquik Chevrolet. He's looking at the big picture. He's talking about winning maybe a Busch Series championship after that disappointing. We showed you that tumble in Daytona where he finished 42nd. He roared back to qualify third and finish second at Rockingham last week. And so he's worried about what's going to happen down the road at race number 30, 31, and 32.
And Kenseth gets by, takes that spot away.
And you saw Kenseth. Kenseth worked for that spot. He tried him on the outside a couple of laps. He fell in behind him, and then he got up under him on the inside and was able to make the move coming up out of the corner and take position to position himself for the next corner.
Less than 10 to go. It'll be actually 6 to go next time by. Mark Martin is the leader, looking for career victory number 42. He won 6 Busch Series races a year ago. In fact, he won 5 in his first 9 starts. He won 5 out of 9 races he ran in. Ended up winning 6 out of 14 starts on the year.
You see this shot now. Burton's almost not even in this shot. And a minute ago, he was right up on his bumper with about 12 or 13 laps to go. And now with 6 to go, he's pretty much Mark's pulled away.
Now remember, the 60 did not stop for fuel. His last pit stop, according to our calculation, was lap 113. So there's been a lot of caution laps there, but they did not stop for fuel. Have they made a wise decision? That car did stop for fuel. His teammate Jeff Burton, Tommy Morgan, brought him on pit road for a splash of gas. We'll see how it plays out. 5 to go.
And a couple of cars have made pit stops. Some of those cars that have had to make pit stops. So can Mark Martin. He's got 2 problems. Number 1, does he have enough fuel? And number 2, this traffic in front of him. Randy LaJoie currently in 9th position. And 15, Jack Sprague. As he tries to get by these cars, it's going to allow, I think, Jeff Burton to close in. Couldn't get by LaJoie that lap. He tries again on the outside of Randy LaJoie. And meanwhile, he's got cars side by side right in front of him. He clears LaJoie. Now he goes up there. We see the Grubb from 37. Kevin Grubb, the 98. We saw him in Jack Sprague.
Here comes the 9.
And the problem is the 15 and the 37 of Grubb, these guys are racing for position. They're racing for position 12 and 13 right here. They don't care.
Oh, and Sprague goes around right in front of Mark, and here comes the 9 car for the lead. Jeff Burton takes the lead.
And Sprague has had hard contact with the wall. Mark Martin has to jump on the binders to keep from getting into Sprague, and Burton has taken the lead and the caution flag. The caution is waving for the 3rd time today, and just that quickly with 3.5 laps to go, there is Jack Sprague's Albertson Chevrolet, the Andy Petrione car. He was battling with Kevin Grubb for the 12th position with the leaders right behind him, and his car just suddenly jerked sideways into the wall.
And what a great piece of driving by Mark Martin. He was right there. You saw him hit the brakes. The car sets to the left, turns to the left real hard. He releases and drives past it, but by then his momentum's killed, and Jeff Burton goes by him. But what a great job.
Let's show you again what happened just a moment ago here in the turn.
The 15 car, Sprague, trying to come off the corner, trying to stay in front of the 37 car, and the back end goes around. And look at this, Kyle, what you're talking about. Mark just turned left.
Just turns left, and you see the black marks where he turns left and sets the wheel. You see the wheel turn back to the right a little bit. It puts black marks on the racetrack. He turns so hard and stands in the gas. But like I say, it kills your momentum right there. But what a great job. Look at it right here. He hits the brakes, boom, turns to the left, releases, and it comes straight off.
Wow.
You see the black mark as he drives away.
Well, that is impressive.
Man. But he did lose the lead. Watch from the helicopter.
He can't be more than a foot and a half behind him. And watch, he somehow misses this car.
And look at Burton just go right by him. Man, tough break for Mark Martin. Now 2 laps to go, so it looks like this thing is going to end on the caution flag.
A lot of debris to clean up over there, and Jack Sprague is out. Let's check in the 9-car pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, with 10 wins for Jeff Burton, think about it, though. It's been over a year since this team won a Busch race. Their last win was at Rockingham in 1999 in February, so it's been a year. Tommy Morgan got on the radio with Jeff, and he says, hey, man, I'd rather be lucky than good sometimes. And Jeff says, that's why we're in Vegas.
There's Kim Burton applauding her husband for the move he made, but realistically, Mark Martin deserves a heck of a hand for what he did today, coming from a lap and a half back to drive the wheels off that car and also just missed the Jack Sprague car. There's Jack climbing in the ambulance. He looks to be okay. The car pretty heavily damaged, and it will come down this time for the white and yellow together, and it will be over as Jeff Burton will lead him down under caution one more time, and he will collect his first career victory this year, his 11th career overall. And there is wife Kim applauding as we check into the Mark Martin pits, and Tony Lambert, his crew chief, is with Bill Weber.
And Tony is able to smile, but obviously it wasn't meant to be today for you guys, was it?
It don't look like it. It seems like everything we done, something happened, and we overcome it, and Sprague spun out in front of us, and they just didn't have nowhere to go and had to slam on brakes, and the caution comes out. And we were close on fuel, and it just one thing after another, and it wasn't meant to be, but I'm proud for these guys. All these guys helped on Burton's to fix that car and get it ready for them, and I'm glad to see them win.
Okay, tough day. Better luck next time. Tony Lambert, the crew chief for Mark Martin. Jack Roush, his car owner, is spotting for Mark. After the caution came out, Jack apologized to Mark, said, but there's nothing I could do. Obviously, you saw it happen right in front of you. Ray?
Tommy Morgan, you going to go to the casino tonight?
Yeah, I might just have to go back and see if I can do better over there than I've been doing all week. Now, I got to give the credit to this NorthernLight.com Roush Racing Ford. I was awesome all day long. We were going to gamble on the fuel, but we decided not to, and it paid off in the long run. I mean, I got to give hats to the 60 crowd, too. They run good all day long.
These Roush cars are great at Vegas.
Oh, yes. That should be 2 for 2 now out of the 3 races been run here.
Okay, Tommy Morgan, that's the crew chief for Jeff Burton as they come down the front stretch, yellow and checkers.
Back-to-back wins here in Las Vegas. They roll the dice and come up victorious. The NorthernLight.com team celebrating. What a day for Team Roush. There's the hand out the window for Jeff Burton, 32 years of age, and his teammate behind him there, Mark Martin, will pull up alongside and congratulate him on what has been a great afternoon for
I'm not so sure, Jerry. I'm not so sure he's going to pull up the side of him and congratulate him. He hasn't yet anyway, because you know it has to be bitter disappointment from Mark Martin as well as he ran today.
And considering how far he had to come from being a lap down, and he drove his heart out. We'll hear from the winner, and here's what happened to Mark Martin with 3 laps to go. Sprague's car spins around. Martin jumps in the brakes, turns left, back in the throttle, saves the car, but will finish second. Back with the champion and the winner in a moment. Well, the 4th annual Sam's Town 300 is history, and the celebration begins as Jeff Burton climbs out looking up at an overcast sky, but no clouds on his parade today. Let's go down to Bill Weber in Victory Lane.
And Jeff Burton back in Victory Lane. He wasn't looking at the clouds. You were looking for that northern light, weren't you?
Yes,
congratulations.
That was you know, that's a great day for Roush racing. We had the 2 dominant cars, and that's all we asked for. The car that won the race, should have won the race, probably didn't win the race. It's a shame for Mark, but we needed a break. It's been about a year since we won one of these things, so it's good to finally get over here.
Take me through what happened out there, the caution in front of you guys.
Well, I got upset because it seemed like every time we caught lap cars, I was catching them in the corner and he was catching them on the straightaway. And I told him on the radio once, I said, God, you know, these lap cars are about to drive me crazy. And then I looked up and they're 2 wide, about 3 deep in front of him. And I said, uh-oh, you know, now we got a chance. I knew LaJoy was still in the lead lap. Maybe he would hold him up and at least let me get to him. But when I got to him, my car picked up a terrible push, and I don't think I'd ever got by him. But it made it exciting anyway, I guess.
Jeff, this is a very difficult track that seems to change a lot. The Roush cars are expected to run very well here on Sunday. Did this race help you for Sunday?
Well, I tell you, this track's a lot different than it was here last year. Everybody in the Cup cars is sliding around, and they're loose, they're tight, they're everything. And this car today was on a rail. I think that it'll teach us something about what the track, how the track changed. I learned a little bit today, but these cars take such different setups than what a Winston Cup car does. But that's a good day for the NorthernLight.com Ford. Got them in Victory Lane. I'm real excited about that. New sponsor for us, and real happy to have them on board.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jeff Burton and his family and his crew in Victory Lane here at Las Vegas. The man he beat, his heartbroken teammate, Mark Martin. Ray is with him.
Yeah, as Mark gets ready to go out for happy hour for Winston Cup, a fabulous race car under there today, but I know that's a heartbreaking loss.
It's kind of hard to get beat there right at the end. You know, that's never easy to take, but The Winn-Dixie team did a great job with the car today, and we overcame some problems and had some great pit strategy and a good handling car. And I guess that's the way it goes. I'm sure Jeff Burton had it planned that way.
Come into the pits, you have the catch can stay on there, you have to come in for a stop and go, you're a lap down, get back on the lead lap and race all the way around. It shows you guys have awfully strong equipment at Roush Racing.
That's just a great car. I mean, that's the same car we ran at Rockingham, and it's my favorite car in the stable. And being that this is the last year I'm going to run the series, we wanted to go out and try to win every race, and we're giving it all we've got.
Well, you had them covered today, and guys, that car is Old Yeller. It's won 5 of 7 races, but it doesn't win today at Vegas.
I know that Jeff Burton is in victory lane, but what a performance this guy put in today. If you just joined us, Mark Martin got a lap down at lap 85 because of the catch can being on the car. And absolutely, I mean, had to come down, came back and was leading the race with 3 laps to go, and Jack Sprague's car spun. He had to jump on the brakes. Burton slides by. The caution comes out, and it's all over. Back with more in a moment. Back at Las Vegas, Nevada, the NASCAR Busch Series event is history, and Jeff Burton has gone to victory lane. His first win of the season, his 11th career victory, and a gallant effort by his teammate Mark Martin, who led until 3 laps to go after coming from a lap and a half behind. There's the unofficial results. Burton and Martin the top 2, Nemechek, Todd Bodine, and Matt Kenseth the top 5. Some pretty good runs in here.
There were some great runs. We saw a lot of cars were a lap down, but Mark Martin and Jeff Burton had to run so hard that last little bit that they put a bunch of cars another lap down, 2 laps down. There you see all the way back to 25th, Elton Sawyer.
That's a top 30. Look at 31 through 43. Jason Jarrett involved in an incident over in turn 2. The back of his car heavily damaged, a Rayovac Pontiac. And Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin involved in an incident. Just 3 caution flags today. Brought us a record average speed of over 135.9 miles per hour for the 4th annual Sam's Town 300. Back with more from Las Vegas Motor Speedway in a moment. Oh, well, after 3 of 32 events on the $14 million NASCAR Busch Series Tour, well, it's starting to shake out a little bit as we check out on the pits once again with Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, Matt Kenseth started 29th today, moves all the way up to 5th. That's a pretty good run, and you're the points leader.
Yeah, it was a good run for the Visine car. I've always struggled really bad here, and somebody just was real nice and told me that the best I ever run was 24th here before that. So to come out here 5th, I'm real happy with it. We had about a 5th place car and finished 5th with it. We made a lot of adjustments all day and got the car pretty fast. I should have been a little more aggressive probably with my adjustments and been a little better there then.
Martin and Burton were the class of the field today. They're Roush cars. You got a Roush car for the Winston Cup race. That's got to give you some confidence about tomorrow's event.
I hope it helps. I mean, they had everybody covered over in the Busch race real bad. I mean, they were a lot faster than everybody else. Most of the guys, other than that, we were pretty close in speed, but, you know, we weren't near good enough to run with them guys. But it was nice to be able to run 300 miles today, and hopefully it'll help me out a little bit for tomorrow, and hopefully we can get that Dwelt car running good.
You're not running for the championship in Busch this year, but you do have the points lead, and that's a good thing because Jason Schuler will be getting in that car in Nashville. You want to keep those points up as high as you can, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like before we were always stressed out about the points and trying to get in the lead, and we always came here and lost tons of points, and now we're the leaders. So it's still good to be the points leader. We're going to run the first 8 or 9 or 10 races or something like that, and we're still trying to keep points for the ownership championship. Everything goes by the owner, so do the best we can to keep that Riser Enterprise team as close to the top as we can.
Okay, that's Matt Kenseth, top 5 run today here at Vegas. Now let's go to Bill Weber.
Well, Ron Hornaday started back about 35th, raced your way up to 8th or 3rd in points, and you had a good day in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I don't have to go gambling now. We're going to hurry up and go out there and try to get some gambling before the plane leaves. But I just got to thank these guys. An awesome job again. Good pit strategy on the Napa Chevrolet. Jerry, Steve Mill, all the guys worked hard. I mean, I put it in gear, hurt us on the 1 pit stop and lost the lug nuts. But other than that, we were good all day. You know, we pitted and put some fuel in it. Figured everybody else was going to have to put pit fuel, and we had another yellow. So that kind of bit us a little bit. But good day after all. I mean, starting 35th, come back to top 10, and the bunch of guys we have racing this Busch Series, it's pretty tough.
You feel comfortable in that car, Ron?
It seems to be. I mean, I didn't hear Dale today on the radio, so I think we ran pretty good. It's taken a lot to get used to. I've been overdriving it, and when we came here, we didn't qualify that good. It's a truck, you can drive it off in there, use the brake, and use the horsepower. And Ron Hutter built us a great motor, don't get me wrong, but when you got a 390 carburetor on the best motor, it still don't get up and go. And I got to get used to the driving style. I found it out about halfway yesterday to happy hour, and Steve Mill, Jerry Kidd, and everybody made some changes on this Napa Chevrolet and ran good.
Okay, 8th place finish. See you next week.
Thank you.
Ron Hornaday.
Second top 10 finish in a row puts him in good shape as far as the NASCAR Busch Series point standings are concerned. He came in here 7th in the points, will lead today 3rd in the points. Matt Kenseth leads the points, but of course that'll cycle out. He will not run the full series, as Jason Schuler out of the REMAX series will come on board and run that car for much of the year. Let's look at the top 10 in the point standings. A lot of racing action to come your way. Of course, tonight it's RPM tonight and happy hour at 10:30 Eastern Time, setting the stage for all the coverage here tomorrow, as RPM Today and NASCAR Today will lead us up to our live ABC Sports coverage at 2:30 Eastern Time of the NASCAR Winston Cup. CarsDirect.com. 443-year-old Ricky Rudd will lead him down from the pole in the Texaco Havoline Ford. RPM tonight at 9:30 Eastern Time. For Benny Parsons, Kyle Petty, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, telling you thanks so much for joining us for what was an exciting afternoon of NASCAR Busch Series action here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And once again, congratulating Jeff Burton on his 11th career Busch Series victory. And what a job Mark Martin did to avoid that accident and finish 2nd here today. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, a part of the Go Network, go.com. So long, everyone, from Las Vegas Motor Speedway.